There's been a lot of talk recently about a team called Zero Tenacity, and especially Nemanha, who is their IGL and one of their best players, as potentially cheating. And I know that's not super uncommon in the Tier 2, Tier 3 scene to think that people are radar cheating or match fixing, but the sheer number of accusations, as well as some of the people making them, like Kassad and Jachem, I believe Jachem did, but maybe just liked the tweet or something, who don't usually make these sorts of accusations, make me interested. And I just watched their game against Sangal, where Zero Tenacity lost, but afterwards Sangal seemed to be accusing them of cheating right after beating them, which is kind of crazy and suggests that there's something maybe fishy going on. But this is also, there's a tendency, I feel like, for pros where you don't want to admit that someone worse than you is doing really well. And Nemanha has, if you look at his all-time stats, he's under a 1 rating player, but recently in the last 3 to 6 months, he's above a 1.2 rating player, which is an insane increase, and it's kind of hard to believe. Although when I look at it, it does look like he's just kind of gotten better over time. He just played a lot of matches in his first couple of years, and he's played less since he's been getting better. It really almost feels somewhat linear that he's just kind of 2020, he was like 0.96, 2021, it was kind of, or 2022, I think he was at 1.05, and this year he's at 1.2. There's just been a few less games played, and he has played some games on LAN, very few, but he hasn't really underperformed on LAN. But then, of course, if you're radar cheating, you have to actually also be good at the game, right? If you're either going to be, pre-aiming people through the walls if you're wall hacking, or if you're radar cheating, if you don't want to be the most blatant cheater of all time, you actually do have to be good at the game. So he's definitely going to be a good player. Question is how good, and I just wanted to take a little bit of a look, and hopefully I can give some context, because sometimes it's hard to tell if you're not watching a ton of CS whether a rotation or a spam is standard or it's really weird. So hopefully this gives a bit of understanding of what is and isn't, abnormal gameplay. Now, Nemanha loves to spam smokes, and I've seen some clips that, they aren't quite prime Flusha levels of suspicious. I mean, they're very far off from that, but I've seen some clips where he's hit some crazy spams. So I can see why people are suspicious, but he does just spam smokes a lot, regardless, even if he's not hitting people. Now here, he's got a Heaven player, something this team loves to do, Zero Tenacity. They do love to have, break smokes with nades, more so than a lot of other teams I've seen. But Nemanha is going to be getting a flank off, and he gets a ton of strong flanks. His timing here is insane because Alex is right there if he was a couple seconds later. But it's not like Bait didn't, they were running. Not only that, but Bait was running because Brute Monster was spotted in Heaven, and usually your Heaven player is your outer player more often than not, so it makes sense that they probably thought outer was empty, and then Nemanha goes for the flank. Nothing really too surprising there. That can't be explained just by an aggressive player, and that's as well hard to qualify or account for, is that when you have a player that's, if he feels like he's a better aimer than most people he's playing against, which maybe he does. I remember seeing this when Dexter, the IGL, the Australian, clarifying, I'm not saying Dexter, Dexter, when he was playing in Tier 2, Tier 3, he did get a ton of flanks off as well, because it felt like what happened was he could out-aim a lot of the people he was playing against, so he could find timings to get aggressive, and if he ran into someone, it wouldn't be a big deal, right? Because if you run into someone and you can out-aim them, who cares? And if it's empty, you get the quick flank off. So it's kind of like a win-win scenario, and if Nemanha feels like that's the case, then certainly that could be happening. So nothing really too weird in any of the plays so far. I mean, it's just an eco, and I know how this round ends because I failed my recording earlier, which is Nemanha saves. I watched the first few rounds without recording, so I've got a little bit of information as to how these rounds are going to go. But this is the last round I saw, which means I know exactly how this goes. And Brute Monster is just sitting in a corner, and he's going to, well, let's find out. Is he going to die? No. because he's insane. And I don't think the cheating accusations are really against Brute Monster. It seems like people just think Brute Monster is good. I think Nemanha has the cheating accusations. And, you know, not necessarily, I mean, he could be cheating and his team doesn't even know because he's the IGL and he's one of their better players. He could just be calling rotations, and there's nothing like, this isn't like Akuma where it was really weird, like they would go mid and then run away from mid in a way that just doesn't make any sense. If Nemanha is using radar, I feel like it's a little bit more covert than that. But regardless, this round, Nemanha gonna go for the squeaky spam. Nothing surprising. They've got the Opper in towards Garage, which is standard. I mean, they're going to be playing generally pretty normal setups. And in fact, Head Trick, knowing that Simkit, the round prior, Simkit had actually been jiggling that with a molly and nearly died to a rifler. So in this case, they have Head Trick peek that with an op and nearly get the... Oh my god. That's... I'm not even playing right now, and I just clenched up. All right. Smoke dropped over. There come the outer utility. And it is a bit odd. Zero Tenacity aren't throwing that outer molly, I don't believe, which is like very, very standard. Okay. The outer molly is very, very standard. I don't think they're throwing it, but maybe it was actually the Opper that threw that. Yeah, I think it looks like the Opper. But they love to nade this smoke out. Nothing crossed. I'm surprised Nemanha didn't molly top. Okay. Wow. I'm surprised Nemanha didn't molly top secret. Usually if you have a player towards mini that still has a molly this late in the round and smokes come down, you can molly top secret and then you can nade out the smoke a little bit later and you can basically prevent any cross, right? Because if you're playing it like Nemanha did there, you nade the smoke out and then people could be walking across at the same time. Unless maybe the Opper was planning on nading the smoke out too. They were going to like chain the nading the smokes out. Yeah, there would have been time to cross, but don't misunderstand this for an accusation. I'm just wondering what the plan was. I'll give you a good idea of like my actual thoughts closer to the end once I see a little bit more. But keep in mind, Nemanha does love spamming smokes, and you have to be very careful if you see some crazy smoke spams of thinking like, oh my god, he must be cheating. Because if you've ever watched a Donk demo, that guy is a genius at spamming smokes, and if he spams smokes, and if someone thought he was cheating because of some of the smoke spams I've seen from him, I'd be like, you know what, fair enough, okay? But his smoke spams are unbelievable, and it seems like, you know, I almost want to say cross my fingers. We don't think Donk's cheating. Nobody seems to think Donk is cheating. So if we assume he's not cheating, because he's almost definitely not cheating, I don't know why I'm clarifying. He's not cheating. I'm pretty confident, guys. If he can pull smoke spams like that and be legit, then you have to kind of temper your expectations of what cheating means when it comes to smoke spams. If someone just has a really good feel for the game and where players are going to be at certain timings. So that was a round win by the T's, but still plenty of money for Zero Tenacity, so they're able to go for a comfortable buy here. That's not an uncommon spam, but, you know, good timing for the spam. I'm starting to see, you know, I can kind of understand, you know, if Nemanha's, he's coming from being a 0.9 rated player, and then he's pulling off spams like that. And by the way, I don't really see people calling him a wall hacker. I see people calling him a radar cheater, which means he's not going to be, you know, pre-aiming through walls. But if he looks up, sees someone setting up something like that, maybe he could, you know, he could find that spam. But Nemanha does just like spamming. And he spams pretty effectively, but he does, I've seen him die going for spams that are kind of aggressive as well. So I wouldn't be too negative about it. Here, they've got the bomb down, so obviously they don't really have to over-aggress, and I don't know how they... Shofo? I don't know how to say this guy's name. He just narrowly didn't see Head Trick there. Oh my god, Simka just sees the foot. That is unfortunate. Why did he turn around? Okay, well, this round's, you know, basically over. Yeah, the spam on back lobby was interesting, but I've definitely seen a lot of people go for that before, so I don't think that's like anything crazy. It's just always odd when someone goes to a spot, spams it a little differently than usual, and that's the time when players are there. This is the molly I was talking about. Generally, most teams are throwing, and in fact, Zero Tenacity is throwing as well. So this time around, Nemanha is going to go back garage. He does love this back garage position, and I've seen him. He loves when those outer smokes come down to go for that flank or to walk through the smokes, the smoke wall. And I've seen him do that many times. Usually it works out, but very often it's either 1-for-1 because he walks into a lot of players, or they're just waiting for him and he walks in and dies. So it's not like he's 100% consistent on that. Okay. Yeah, that's when he's probably supposed to be able to get that kill. It's also important to keep in mind that, you know, at these tier 2 levels, I think the amount of teams that have some like semi-readable plays that, you know, you can see a play and know that, you know, this is their only upper hit or something like that, I think that goes up a lot. And that's exactly what you would expect when, you know, players start accusing others of cheating. You know, if you have a team that just does a ton of demo watching and they just know that you only have like 1 or 2 upper hits and they know how those upper hits go, that would kind of plant the seeds. That might plant the seeds, and then once the seeds are planted, it's really easy for, you know, confirmation bias to step in when a team is you know, performing better and better and better over time. So some things to have to keep in mind that, you know, like, maybe they just know that this exec is a certain way. But here, looks away just before they peek out. But guys, they could just be hiding it, right? Once you're certain someone's cheating, basically everything is confirmation. Oh, well, that's just a round. You know, they had Glocks. You didn't have to be looking. You could have looked away. He didn't need to be looking because they had Glocks. Yeah, it's easy to make everything fit once you think someone's cheating. So generally, when he's been towards mini, he has been spamming that. So that's not too surprising. Maybe the way he spammed it was a little tiny bit different, but it's hard to tell. That's the type of molly I'm talking about, by the way. If you've got a guy outer with a molly, very often, you know, you see the outer smokes drop, you molly it, and then you nade it afterwards, and there's basically no time for that cross to happen, because you can delay the molly a little bit. If you molly top secret instead of mollying bottom, instead of mollying red, you molly top secret, and there's almost no time for them to cross because you can delay the molly for a second. Here, sorry. Like, you can delay the molly, like, maybe a second there, then throw it, and, you know, whatever. Maybe there is a little bit of time, but not a ton of time. Ooh, spammed right over his head. All right. And then he just loses the duel. Yeah. Spams are typically very close. We'll say the spams have not been very far from opponents very often in this game. But those are, you know, pretty much standard spams. He's not like spamming anything that like nobody spams. He's spending a lot of ammo spamming. But he had support outer, right? He had a player heaven. So you almost want to bait your opponents into trying to push you there, because if you bait them into it, then your outer player, your heaven player can at least trade on you. And if you're close to cover, when you bait them into it, it's not even a trade. Your teammate just gets the kill. That's what I'm talking about, like, great aim. Because, you know, if you're able to just swing out heaven and get kills like that, you're probably pretty confident in your aim in general enough to take aggressive plays and you know, find players that aren't, you know, expecting it. I just wanted to see. It almost looks like this he is in the smoke, but you can see the muzzle flash, so it's not too surprising. It's just pretty nice shots. You're about to move over. Probably try to double up. This is a ridiculous play, man. I guess he is, like, he's baiting himself so his teammate can get the trade, but I feel like CT side Nuke, like, they don't have a lot of money. Oh, but it is the last round next round. But still, I mean, even with that, they still can't get a full buy. I feel like you gotta try and keep 3 players alive there. And this is unrelated to anything else. This is just like, I don't know. I feel like he could have played an angle where they're like double peeking, like back squeaky, but I'm not sure. Maybe they didn't have the, like maybe the T had the bomb, so they were worried about him. They were worried about him just going like secret to lower, and then they'd be in a worse spot. Here, he actually made noise dropping, but I'm not sure anybody heard him. Ooh, this is a bit of a one-way. That molly is very hard to see through. So I can see why you can go for that peek fairly safely. That molly is just fucking hard to see through. Shit. I wanted to catch the POV of the guy that he actually killed to see, you know, if he could see him at all, because I doubt he could see him. And then he's going for the rear aggress. I mean, this round's basically over. He manages to get the kill, but it's nothing surprising. He molly down vents? Was that intentional? Oh my god. I would feel like that's not intentional. But maybe they're trying to prevent the rotate, like squeaky down vents. I mean, that does make a lot of sense to try and prevent that rotate, but I don't think I've seen that before. I've been watching a ton of tier 2, tier 3 CS, but I've been watching a ton of Nuke games from like tier 1 teams. Oh my god. The spray eventual headshot. Yeah, so if the molly down vents is intentional, then I would guess the point of that is to force the ramp rotate, right? Because if you can't rotate down vents, usually that player's mini, you would expect him maybe to pivot and start like being willing to fight outer, and maybe you want him to fight versus 4 Glocks. If they had a P250, maybe even more so. And then you'd expect probably the ramp player to rotate. And now you've got the T's that got down secret, but there's nobody really around. So they're actually set up already that they could go back up because nobody dropped vents. You get this guy in vents quickly. You can prevent the vent drop, and then that means most of the CTs had to have gone down ramp if they went down anywhere, or they could have pushed lobby, which actually they did. So the CTs are actually overstacked in lower, but I'm trying to think if there's like a reason for the Ts to expect that. I mean, a lot of the time CTs will see that I believe they saw the cross, right? Yeah, they did see the cross. So Nuke is one of those maps where a lot of the time you end up walking into stacks because it's almost impossible to check for a stack without also just walking right into it, right? Other maps, I feel like you can kind of sniff out a stack without walking into it. But Nuke especially, it's like if you spot a stack, you're already committed. But with Vents control, you can kind of spot a stack without being fully committed. So I can see the idea of him flanking. Oh yeah, he's flanking. Sorry, I thought he was flanking Heaven, like to go for an upper hit. He was flanking Ramp. I just forgot what he was doing. Flanking Ramp to go for a lower hit because Ramp probably was already cleared. Yeah, no, I like that play. I don't think anything seems crazy there. Here, basically a full save. I mean, literally a full save? Literally a full save. Spotted with the bomb in hut. Is he like trying to get spotted with the bomb? Is the goal get spotted with the bomb and then go back cross outer or something? Oh my god, he's cheating. There's no way. Oh my god, he's cheating. There's no way. There's no way. Hey, there's no way a legitimate player could get 2 Glock kills with Glock no armor. There's no possible way. I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. Please. Head to Twitter. Head to Twitter. I would head to Twitter if I died to that. He must be cheating. That was clean. I mean, that's what I'm talking about with, like, if you feel like you can out-aim people, you can go for these sorts of plays. Just confidence plays where you're looking for picks. And then if nobody's there, you look like the biggest genius or cheater in the world, right? Because it's like, oh, he knew someone was there. That's why he peeked outer with no utility, or like you just dry swung outer. And it's like, well, you know, it's also very possible he just thinks he's better. And if you think he's cheating, maybe he's right. One of the most blatant cheaters I ever saw that was actually playing in competitive is one thing I saw was that they would pre-aim things perfectly when a player was there, But if nobody was there, they wouldn't be able to pre-aim it for shit because they didn't really understand the game well enough. And so if someone was there, they knew the exact angle to line up their crosshair to, right? But if nobody was there, then they actually didn't know how to line it up through the wall. But I don't. That is a weird peek, though. But, I mean, in theory, if he's radar cheating, he knows the guy's here, but he doesn't know exactly where he is, so you would think he would peek it normally. It's just he, like, didn't clear that exact corner, but maybe he's just not expecting a player to be there. He's expecting someone to be on the inside angle. Maybe that's more common. Walk across. You gotta clear that angle, bro. What are you doing? But, you know, lots of pros don't even clear that angle. But fuck's sake, you gotta clear that angle. That's ridiculous not to clear that angle. Just straight walking into lower. What do you have? Do you have one player here? You have one player here. It's head trick covering lower. Walked out before the smoke. Oh my god. This guy's supposed to be out-aiming people. Can't even hit that. He's like me, man. Like us. He's exactly like us. Hit an insane shot and then miss the next one. Alright, standard outer smoke, although... Oh, I think that's meant to take out the molly as well. I think people are throwing it a little more shallow than it used to be because it can also take out the molly. So here, again, walking in front of the smoke is aggressive. That is very aggressive. Shouts out if you get that reference. He goes straight into mini. Oh, his team is going ramp at the same time. So they know a guy's outer, but they're thinking that he's probably... This is something Nico actually used to do quite a bit. I see quite a few players do this, where they go straight in front of the smokes because the goal is to just duel, right? The goal is like send one of our best players outer, like our best aimer, or our only player, or one of our only players that has a rifle. You send him outer, and then you use him to try to duel the outer players. Although NPL really should be kind of more ready for this because his teammates in secret should have just called that Nemanha was running, but maybe NPL is just not quite ready at the exact right time. Yeah, I think he was just like, he was ready for it, and then he looked away for a second, and then he wasn't ready for it. With his teammates in lower, drawing this type of bait makes a lot of sense. You'd expect not too many CTs to be upper. Yeah, at this point, you're really thinking, if you're a Zero Tenacity, like, where the fuck are they? Like, why am I not seeing anyone? They're not peeking lower. They're not in upper. They're not like a lobby flank to a ramp retake made probably the most sense. Yeah, that would have made a ton of sense if there was like a ramp rotate there. But here, again, just completely alone outer. Or, you know, he's got support from red, and he's just full white. He's just full white. The question is, what type of buy are they expecting? Their opponents lost the last round with 3 players alive, so they're expecting a reasonable buy, but something, yeah, something without maybe not a full buy, and expecting something aggressive makes a lot of sense because Nemanha has been going outer alone the majority of these rounds, so it makes a lot of sense that you want to respond to someone going outer alone and trying to duel you by getting aggressive outer and trying to shut that player down. Or you might, you know, have your opper just be completely ready for that guy, but they didn't have an op, right? But they could have done something like, you know, Heaven and Unbreakable would be, you know, pretty standard to try and fight that guy with 2 players. Would have been standard as well. Double smokes outer. I believe the second smoke gets thrown a little later. Is that thrown a little later? And this time Nemanha is leading into lower. He was leading into lower a couple of rounds ago as well. And off of that kill, it does make a lot of sense to just go straight down lower. I mean, there's nothing. Usually you're not expecting a second player to be there quite in time. You're looking for, you know, you're going to have events rotate or you're going to have the ramp rotate. That ramp rotate wasn't really that fast. I'm surprised he wasn't kind of ready for someone to be a little bit further out than he was, but... CT timeout. All right, this one, I was gonna spoil it, but then I didn't. Then I decided not to. Okay, smoke garage, both smokes lined at the same time. I thought some teams were throwing it where they would like throw one smoke and then throw the other one, because then the deeper smoke would last a little bit longer. Because you were crossing, you know, you might like be not all the way across, but I'm not sure if that's actually true. There, they mollied out that spot that Nemanha loves to play, which is funny. I noticed a real huge tendency, especially in pugs, but just in general, teams love to counter the way they play. Like if I'm on CT side and I push B every round, or let's say I go secret like 5 to 6 rounds a half, then on T side, I'm gonna be ready for that secret play every time, because it's like, oh yeah, that's how I play. That must be how they play. All right, so that's the same clear. That's the same clear he gave the last time. I don't know if I'll edit this, but maybe I will and show an overlay, because he's aiming like the guy is 7 feet tall. Why? I don't think that's any deeper than he gave last time. It's not the exact same clear, I don't think. But it's pretty much the same. And he's looking for a second player. I think it's very common to have 2 players. I think it's very common to have a player in this corner, because this player's in the corner and you're trying to bait for him with this other player. It's just a little odd how he does it, but I don't think that's anything weird. That little walk? I don't know. It just looks weird to me. Gets the kill, peeks that. He wasn't even really that ready for that angle. Oh my god, he just gets destroyed. I'm still kind of weirded out by just the way he goes for the, like, okay, first kill. Peeks out, and then he walks, and then it's like, he's looking for that player to be at the deeper angle, not the closer angle. Just a little odd. I'll call that one a little odd, but maybe I'm just high. Maybe I'm just crazy. Just to lift it a little bit off to me. Flash outer, normal. No molly from the CTs, which means they're definitely on a pretty shitty buy. And Nemanha, having seen the aggressive outer plays before, is looking for another aggressive outer play. Let's see, what does he do here? It is a little weird that he's just like he's just like discounting the red peak. Like he's almost ready for it. He's ready for it, but he's not ready for like the timing repeak, which is what people are usually going for, I feel like. But maybe at that point in the round, yeah, at that point in the round, you're probably like being red is pretty uncommon. Usually you're gone from red by then, especially if you're in something like this sort of kind of buy, like force buy scenario. This round's basically over. Flash outer, there's the CT molly that you're usually expecting. It just delays the tees a little bit. Lets you get set up upper before having to worry too much about outer. And, oh, there's the repeak. I mean, he's just watching that the whole round. Then they end up moving over into the lower play. Oh my god. But guys, it's 12-8. He can make a misplay. It's 12-8. He can make a misplay. This is the round he would make a misplay in, guys, right? Because it's 12-8. He wants to seem legit, so he just does something ridiculously crazy, and it just works. And the fast cross. Yeah, they've been playing pretty slow for a little while, so it makes sense to change up the pace. Try and catch the fast cross. If you have a fast cross, I think you can sometimes hear them when they go fast secret, which is something that that bait have been doing. And then he moves back outer. Oy. It's 12-9, guys. It's the round you would do something weird in. It's the round you would do. It's the round you would let himself die in. I feel like when you get to that point where you're like, this is the round you would be doing something, like be not cheating, even though he's a cheater. I feel like when you get to that point, you're attributing a little bit too much like forethought into the cheating. If we remember what a throw looks like from iBuyPower, and the other throws that I'm pretty confident I know I've seen, they're not typically very they're pretty conspicuous, I would say. When I see teams throwing, it's almost like they want people to know that they're throwing. So again, they're gonna go quick. The outer nades from the CTs, I feel like, have been delayed typically, so it makes sense to go fairly fast, and they haven't been mauling it at all. Oi, that's a nice peek. Not worried about an opper. Where is their opper? Their opper's in ramp. Usually, I've seen, like, Rain is really good at actually killing op. He does not clear that angle this time. He does not clear that angle at all this time. But to keep in mind, this time it's a full buy from the CTs, right? And on a full buy, you're a little less likely to play those sorts of off angles. Oh my god, that is a fucking peek and a half. And he pre-fires it too, but that's exactly what you expect. If you're expecting an opper there, you probably want to pre-fire it. And as a general rule, most teams, they don't ever, almost never cross 0 players. Usually if you throw outer smokes, you either cross 1, 2, 3, 4, usually not 5. You usually cross 1 to 4 players, because if you cross none, it's just a little too easy for the CTs to retake it. So you usually cross 1, and it's a decent duel for 1 player to take as well, and he can put a lot of pressure. There's just so many more options if you cross 1 player, at least, and you can have them run it while having 3 players walk behind, and then, you know, he can still get some control, and it can look like there's, you know, it's a fake, but then you have your whole team there. I feel like it just gives you a lot more options if you cross at least 1 player at a time. He just fake opening the door. Just a troll, okay. They got 1. I'm assuming his teammates, yeah, his teammates must have checked above. And then he's just worried about this vent flank, which is exactly what he should be worried about. Surprised he opened the door, like closed the door. Why does he keep closing the door? Oh, I guess if he dies, if they keep closing the door, if he dies, then I don't know. I don't know. That might be a play that a lot of people are making that I just haven't noticed. Oh my god, he can do the jump. He can do the jump. Someone tell me I'm not crazy. This jump is fucking hard now, right? Like, I fall off that jump. I've seen pros fall off that jump a bunch of times. It's hard now. That shit ain't easy. He's mauling. He loves that angle so much. It's so funny to see him molly it too. There's the delayed outer smokes. Aids the angle that he also mollied previously. And his team's going to go lower, and then he's going to do... So he's going to do a play that he made earlier, right? Like kind of a play... Oh my god. That a play that he made earlier where he goes towards heaven. This is actually kind of like what they made on Pistol Round, where like they have a guy go heaven and other players cross, right? Because you have those players cross. A lot of the time there's going to be a gap on this outer hold. And the CTs have been playing fairly light on outer. They've been playing lots of guys in secret, but they haven't been playing too heavy in outer. And if you have teams that play heaven a lot, which is most teams play heaven quite often, you can kind of catch some. You can catch some people. So I'm just trying to make sense of exactly what he's doing. He gets mollied, so he like kind of freaks out, starts to run, jumps straight through. Knife out is wild to have your knife out. Are they seeing something in lower? Why does he have his knife out there? Why would you ever feel confident enough to pull your knife out? There's nothing really going on in outer unless they have some read on the setup or something. But I just find it so wild that he pulls his, like, at any point you would pull your knife out here. There could be someone here. There could be someone like peeking lockers that hears him. The heaven player definitely hears him. That is a really, I feel like that's a really weird play. He gets the kill. A lot of the time, oh, there's no time. Is that what it is? Is he just doing it because there's no time? Yeah, there's almost no time. Oh, what? Here's what happens, isn't it? They get smoked off. Oh, okay. This is making sense to me. This is making sense to me. So the smoke gets dropped at 30 seconds, and then he's like, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. I gotta get there. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. Get me over here. Get me out. Yeah, okay. No, that's making sense. Spots the guy Heaven, and he's like, okay, knife out again. They've got to take lower, and he's got to be there to help. The rotate's not in yet. Oh, there's nobody lower. They rotated off. But they lose the round. Oh, my God. That is a round in Counter-Strike history. Holy shit. That is a round of Counter-Strike. Alright. Next up. Yeah, that run was so weird to me at first, but I can see why it makes sense. It's like, yeah. Well, that's a quick round. Time to move on. Oi, oi, oi. I didn't mean to fucking... What? I meant to slow it down, not change POV. Alright, outer. You can hear the guy, right? Why is he not scared of this guy? Oh, okay. Well, I guess he gets punished for it. I guess he's just thinking that guy's just going to be watching the outer cross. The upper push is coming in. So he's just... Yeah, the lobby push, I mean. So he's... Oh, and he just misses. Oh my god, Nemanha. Nemanha, oh no. Nemanha. Brute Monster's really good, I think, isn't he? He's so expecting the player here. Is he the fucking cheater? What? They knew an Opera was Heaven, I guess? Does he? Maybe he fights this guy earlier. Oh, yeah, he does fight this guy. No, what? What? Yeah, so they knew the Opera was Heaven. Comes over, peeks it. Okay, that's maybe just a missed peek. Walks around. This is a good peek here. Oh, yeah, I win that duel all the time. That's one of the best duels in the game. I'm telling you right now, that's one of the best duels in the game. You get on that lower ramp and you just peek out on that. Usually I try and uncrouch into it. That's one of the best peeks in the game. Unbeatable. Did he see his feet? Could you see his feet there? I don't think so. That's a whole crazy peek. 1v2. He's going to win this, isn't he? Oh, my God. Brute Monster wins this. Brute Monster? Brute Monster? Oh, my God. He wins this. Oh my god, he gets destroyed. Absolutely fucking owned, noob. Learn to play. Nemanha, back on ya. This time he actually silent drops Vents. What he should have done the first time. Lobby push, okay. Wait. Usually people flash this when they peek, don't they? Usually they ask for a flash. Do they? This guy has one. He's just gonna dry peek. Why is he not pre-aiming? I mean, usually you pre-aim Twinkie regardless. It's just weird that he's not pre-aiming it when there's people there. Nice play. Fade out. Nice play. Oh yeah, then he's got a delayed. Door open. Oh, the timing? Oh my god. That timing is crazy. See it again. He knows he's opping. Does he know he's opping? I guess it is head trick. This is a play that makes like sense, really, if you know the opponent is opping, because he might just be posted on your angle. You delay it for a second, but there's every reason as well. Not because okay, with the play that head trick is making, right? This play makes a lot of sense, right? But head trick could also have picked up a rifle because he came from a position like there was rifles down here. There was a rifle down here. Could have picked up a rifle, which a lot of people do in clutches, although maybe Headtrix is known for not. But Headtrick could just walk up on him here, right? He could just be giving he could, by waiting here, it feels like a good play because the op could be posted on him. Although, if he didn't hear it, the op couldn't be scoped in. Does he hear it? Let's hear it. Is Headtrick scoped in? Let me find where he is. So Headtrick can't be scoped in. And it's like, Hetrick could just walk up the stairs, but I guess if Hetrick's walking up the stairs, it also makes it a little awkward, because as you walk up the stairs, like, it's a little bit of an awkward, like, elevation change. But I feel like if I'm Hetrick, do I want to fight the guy here? Well, I guess if you fight him here, he can take a shot and get away, potentially, which is what you definitely don't want. And Nemanha isn't there in time to prevent him from getting close to the other side. So that is, like, a concept, right? Because if Nemanha fights him when he's door side, then Hetrick kind of can't get away, right? Like, Hetrick takes a shot, and then he can get he can try to go behind the door, but you can spam him through the door, and you, at the very least, you make it very painful for him to get away. But if he's on the other side, right? Because Nemanha can't stop him from getting the other side, and if he gets to the other side, he might hold that for a second, or like a few seconds, and then be able to take a shot and get away, right? Because if he's on the other side, he's so close to the wall, he can take a shot and get away. But he also could just be walking up on the vent, right? And that's something a lot of players do. They walk up on that vent, and then they play like, you know, they might even walk back around. He also could have faked it. He could have opened the door and gone somewhere else. And when you wait, the longer you wait, the more likely it is that Hetrick crossed. And if he crossed, if he had time to cross, then that means that he had time to open the door and walk ramp, and then you're fucked. I don't know. This isn't a really wild play, but it's just, I feel like it's a little odd. I don't know. I'd love to have someone else, you know, I'd love to talk to someone else about whether or not this is an odd play. It just feels a little weird to me. It feels really natural. It feels really natural, but then at the same time, it also feels weird. I could definitely see someone doing this, though. Walking through the vents. But just the problem is someone could walk up the... I feel like I would make this play, potentially. But then after, I would die to someone walking up the stairs, and I'd be like, dude, that's so fucking dumb. Of course the guy's walking up the stairs. Why would I give him time to walk up the stairs on me, right? Like, I feel like I would make this play and then die and be like, wow, I'm such an idiot for making this play. He sees the gun, and then it's just over at that point. But then, I mean, the other question is, right, I don't want to dwell on this for too long, but the other question is, like, what if he, okay, so let's say he's cheating and he knows, what if he just doesn't see the guy's gun? Is he just going to play as if he's there when he could easily not be there? What if he just doesn't have the right timing and he doesn't see Hetrick's gun? I don't know, man. I don't know, man. And he knew he gave him time to cross? That's why he's... Oh, never mind. Sorry. I forgot he saw his gun for half a second. I was like, he knew he gave him time to cross? He jiggles that? Is Hetrick scoped in at any point here? He's not, is he? He's playing, like, completely silent, right? If I was Hetrick, I'd be like, what the fuck, bro? Like... after this game, I'd be like, dude, he just jiggles that. I just opened the door. He's just jiggling the right side. He's just jiggling me. I'd be pretty sus, man. I'd be pretty suspicious. That's probably the weirdest play in the game so far. But I don't know. I could see someone arguing that it's not that weird. It looks weird to me. Here, this is why Molly's out this angle, because he loves this angle. I'm telling you, if you're like on T side sometime, right? If you're on T side and you see that the CTs just do something like fucking way more than they should, like they're just like stacking B every round, you know what they're gonna do on CT side? They're gonna hit A all the time. Okay, we're like, okay, maybe that's not a great example, but like if they play an angle like 10 times in a row on CT side, don't play that angle on your CT side, because they're gonna be ready for it 100% of the time. Standard rounds. There's Molly. He's got an op. Homeboy's an opper. Didn't know. Oh, he's got a rifle down too. Oh, because this is the last round of the game. Fanatic, where you at? Tinfoil hat time. Okay, listen. If you were cheating and you knew that you wanted to cheat to get yourself some kills through smokes often, like a lot of the time, but you would also have to spam smokes when you didn't think someone was there. Like, you would have to spam smokes all the time, right? This is the Flusha thing, where Flusha was always looking at the walls, right? I don't think he cheated, but he was always looking at the walls, because if you only look at the walls when someone's there, that's a whole lot more suspect. They don't have anybody watching the outer cross, which is a little odd. Especially on the third round of OT. The T's sometimes are... is this a 16k OT? This must be 16k OT, right? Because the T's have full buy again. Yeah, I was thinking like a third round OT, maybe the T's don't have full utility, especially because they've had an op, I think, both other rounds. So I was thinking maybe they don't have utility. Maybe like they're a little more likely to go for like a dry outer cross. But very often, Zero Tenacity does love playing an outer, a heaven player looking outer. It's like one of their favorite fucking plays. So it does make lots of sense to sometimes gamble and just not have any. This is one of the things I'm going to, this is teacher mode for some reason, even though this is not like the point of this necessarily, but sometimes I feel like players at a certain level, when they're not like top level players, but they're not low level players, you know, like face it like 6 to 10 level, I feel like, are too perfect in that they're like, there's an opening. Someone could have made this timing, so I'm going to play as if they did make this timing. And then sometimes when I watch pros or potential cheaters, I'm sorry, this guy doesn't really look that suspicious right now, to be honest. Sometimes when I watch pros, they let that opening happen because it's like, look, 9 out of 10 times they do this play, they're going to lose. They're just going to straight lose instantly. So 1 out of 10 times we can be completely unready for this play, and if they make it, we lose, because odds are much higher that we're ready for this when they make it. So if they're counter-stratting us, they're going to be like, fuck that, don't make that play. Because if you're always ready for it, then what you're actually doing is you're saying, okay, if you're counter-stratting us, then just never make this play. And it's good because we're always ready for it, and now you never make it, and you're just getting free, like, advantage, right? You're, like, giving away a free advantage. And even if they're not counter-stratting, it's just, like, conceptually. Like, they've seen the Heaven player quite often. And sometimes you can infer it, right, with the rotation. If you go ramp and there's a guy drops and it's guy's J, like, instantly, they can infer a Heaven player too. So even if they haven't seen it directly. Here. That was... little odd. He does love, Nemanha loves walking through the smoke. To know if this is like odd or not, I would have to know if like if NPL does this play often. If NPL never makes that play, then I'm thinking that's a little odd. But if he makes that play somewhat often, then it's not that odd. Or, you know, although it is the first time this game that someone's walked through that smoke, but you know, if he knew he was there, you would think that, like, because the way, if Nemanha knew he was there, he could have just walked through the smoke himself just to check, which would have been a pretty natural play. If he walks through that smoke to check, he almost certainly gets the kill, right? But instead he, like, looks and then he looks away. It's a really weird thing to do if you know a player's there. Like, the look is a little odd, but the look away is, like, extra odd if you know a player's there. Walked up close. He's been playing very far back, very, very consistently. So eventually you're going to want to walk up close. And then you have this guy spamming as if he's Nemanha. And then Nemanha is right here. Oy! Doesn't try and line up too. Look. Look me in the eyes right now. If you know there's 4 players outer, and one of them is looking the other direction, surely... you line up too? Actually, no, I take it back. Because, oh, how many times have we watched a pro team, the first guy's looking the other direction, and the second guy clears. On that spot specifically, that's fucking all the time, man. That's all the time. I'm like, how many times have I seen, like, Electronic or Nico, like, close up there? Maybe Zero. I'm just naming names. I know I've seen Electronic there. I'm pretty sure I've seen Nico there. I know Nico was on T side, played out there. I believe Nico plays outside, right? Rain plays outside, but I haven't seen him there too often. Well, I haven't seen enough games of him there. Not that he doesn't play there. I'm pretty sure I've seen Electronic and Nico both play that angle, not kill the first guy, look for the second, and die to the second guy and not get a single kill. But I feel like if you know 4 players are out there, you grab both, right? Don't you? If you know the second guy's right next to him, don't you grab both? Instead of trying to go for one and get the second? I don't know. Okay. This is another angle I don't think he's played all game long. Why do these smokes look so weird? I guess because some of them are thrown by the T's and CTs. Yeah, he's going to throw the glaive smoke, right? Does he throw the glaive smoke? Smokes, then he throws the glaive smoke. And then he reacts by jumping up here. This is I don't think they've thrown this strat all game. Not head trick. Bait. Have Bait thrown this strat all game? Is this like a first time this game strat? This feels like a play where he knows what's happening. This feels like, I'm going to look at demos. I'm going to look at a couple demos. This feels like a play where he knows this play. This feels like an anti-strat. But the problem is, I looked at how many, think of how many games, a lot of fucking games. Like, before I continue with this thought process, think of how many games in a 1 month period is a fuckload of games to play official matches, okay? Double that, and that's how many games that this team is playing, okay? They've got, like, in their last 3 months, they've got, like, 25 Anubis games or something. It's fucking unreal. It's, like, absolutely insane. So it's like, how do you even find the time to anti-strat? But at the same time, like, this really looks like he knows what's coming. This really looks, to me, this really looks like he knows what's about to happen. And maybe this is just a common strat. Maybe this is like a common split, but maybe this is a play. I would expect, like, if this is an anti-strat, this would make a lot of sense too. I mean, I guess theoretically this play, like, with what does an unbreakable smoke really do, right? You're probably, with an unbreakable smoke, you probably have to cross close. You have to probably cross over here, right? It's probably your only option as to where to cross. Man, that glaive smoke lands perfectly, so it blocks, because I feel like, don't deeper glaive smokes, you can see over it? Is that what Head Trick is trying to do here? Is he trying to see over that? I feel like a lot of the time you'd be able to see over that. It looks like Head Trick could see over it, actually. Huh. It's interesting. This definitely looks like he knows exactly what's happening. But I don't know how... I don't think that's... I'm going to look at some demos. I'll update you on this one. I'll update you on this one later on in the demo. I'll edit it in. I think this play might be... That strat might be fairly standard. It looks like... It's a gamble. It's definitely a gamble. But for the same reason the gamble in the previous round wasn't that crazy, this gamble isn't that crazy. If I'm watching that back, I'm like, what the fuck, right? That's what I'm talking about, like, confirmation bias. It's like, if you already think this guy's cheating and you see that, you're like, this guy's clear. He's so blatant. He's, like, so obviously cheating, right? It's, like, fucking insane how cheating he is. He's the cheatiest cheater of all time. But I could see that not being cheating. I don't think that's, like, amazing evidence. Depending on how common that strat is. Because I've coached, like, a lot of NA CS recently, but I haven't coached very much EU CS. And maybe that strat's really common there. Here, gets to red. His teammate dies, but that's not him. But that ain't Nemanha. So it looks like they still know that someone could be outer, and he finds the timing to peek out. That timing's a little odd. Let me look at this timing again. Because, like, this is the timing where you're expecting T's to be swinging on you, so you don't want to be, like, peeking on them when they're peeking on you, right? Because they might peek to clear you. Oh, his teammate peeks out outer. His teammate starts spamming, and that's when he goes for the play. Oh, I see that. Yeah, I see that making sense. Right when his teammate starts spamming, like, drawing attention a little bit, they're going to be looking that like mini direction because he's spamming. They're less likely to be looking towards red. Then he goes for the peek. Then he almost shoots his teammate. Always super helpful. Yeah, that play makes sense. There's nothing weird about that play, I don't think. Smoke, flash, molly, standard. I mean, he's been doing that not every time, but a lot of the time. This player has been playing Unbreakable like fucking permanently. Yeah, this is a nice little crafted play. You go for this play, so you know the CT likes to play Unbreakable a lot. So you go for this play where you're gonna go for the mini drop because if you're playing Unbreakable, you know what you're weak to. You're weak to a mini drop, right? And then you have Nemanha, who's baiting the hell out of that player. He's blame effing Simka, right? He's blame effing him. The mini play comes in. There's the swing. And remember, first half, Nemanha died to this play. He goes in through mini. He gets a kill or he makes contact or something, and then he turns back, misses an easy shot and dies, right? If you remember that. I don't know if it's an easy shot, but he missed a shot and dies, right? That's a perfect play to make an OT. Ooh, man. Especially, it makes a double sense because Nemanya's been going for these plays outer where he's like looking for picks. He's like trying to duel. And if you're trying to duel a lot outer, one of my favorite places as a bad aimer to play to duel when T's are dueling a lot outer is this angle because it's like the anti-headshot angle. So it makes sense, like the dueling he's been going for kind of pushes that player to play there. He already knows he plays there a lot. Go for the mini split. What did he shoot at? Goes for the mini split and then just lets that guy come out. And it's like a fake upper hit off of it. There's teammate dies. Okay, so he knows the guy's Tetris. What? I'm just so confused what he shot at. He like flicked away. I want to slow this down because I'm just confused what he flicked away to. Is there something on his screen? He shoots at the smoke? He shoots at the smoke. Bro, what? How much fucking energy drinks are you on to shoot at a smoke? Never seen that in my life. This is like C9, C9. What event were they at? When they were on Adderall? What event was that? Shooting at the smoke? This guy's on like 5 energy. He's like on 10,000 milligrams of caffeine right now. Sorry, I'm so confused by shooting at smoke that I'm like, didn't look at what else he's doing. Okay, so he's just jiggling. What is he doing? This is crazy. This shit's crazy. He's thinking about peeking heaven. He thinks for a second here. He's like, should I peek heaven? No. Looks back. He's way in the open here, though. And then where's he looking? He's looking heaven. Yeah, center. To be expected. Last 2 rounds. Theoretically. Not that I know the outcome. It could be more. There could be more than 2 rounds. This is the cheater moment. So he's done this a bunch. He hears the guy mini. You have a flash for this? He makes a fucking footstep. Nemanha, what are you doing? Okay, so they force the guy into mini. You're not worried about another outer player? If you're getting punished in mini and like an outer, wouldn't you send a guy like far side, like right side garage? Isn't that like a play you're like thinking about? No? I feel like that's a play you should be like, if I'm thinking about like, okay, so we've dropped mini a couple times. We just dropped mini specifically to kill their unbreakable player so that, because the unbreakable player is going to come kill the mini flank. He's like flank mini and we were ready for it. It's like, what would I do to counter that if they're like trying to punish the mini player? I'd probably send a guy right side garage. Like that's a play I'd definitely be thinking about making, which makes it a little weird that he's like not ready for it at all, but he is ready for it very often. Right? He's like very often ready for it. But I guess because he already heard a guy mini, maybe he's just gambling. It's like, because I've made this gamble before in my life where it's like, I'm just going to gamble like, I think the guy's in mini. If there's a guy in mini, I'm going to make sure I kill him because if there's a guy right side garage, he's going to be, the mini guy's probably not looking at it at the same exact time. But usually the guy right side garage should kill you before you can kill their mini player. I don't know, man. I'm also surprised why they didn't like throw a flash. Is garage smoked? Tell me garage isn't smoked. Tell me I'm not. Okay, garage isn't smoked. So he just walks up. If I'm right side garage, I'm looking like this. He just dies. Okay, he would just die. If there was a guy right side garage, he would just be dead. Okay. But, you know, that happens, right? That's not crazy. That certainly does happen sometimes. Is this guy doing anything? This guy's like covering the squeaky drop. This is exactly the play I'd expect him to be making. Smart play. And Nemanha made noise, which I feel like he shouldn't. And he's going to go for peeking the top hut. Why did he peek so badly on the guy back silo? All right, so clear top hut. Looking kind of weird, but I think it's kind of hard to clear top hut. But what I meant was he kind of just strafes across his back silo spot. Right? Like he just like that's not, he does not clear back silo at all. But the guy's there. Like, that's what's weird. When he peeks these things badly, it's like the guy's fucking there. This is when you would peek it perfectly, if you could. And then they book it lower. What the fuck? What happened? Why did they book it lower? Oh, is this a setup thing? I'm trying to think. Okay, so there's a guy mini. There's a guy already in lower. Okay, so what do the T's know? They know there's a guy mini. Then this guy Squeaky is trying to stop the mini drop, but he can't. Or the Squeaky drop. Walks by him. Okay, going down the vent. So he goes down to the vent. Oh, he kills this guy. Okay, yeah, well, that explains it. Yeah, that does explain everything. Yeah, killing the guy that's lower when you know he's the lower player. That does, in fact, explain exactly the entire round. Crazy. Must be cheating. I'm sorry. Oh, my God. So he doesn't want to be on the stairs when a guy peeks out. When a guy peeks out vents. That's what I was like wondering, right? Like, how much do you want to be on those stairs when a guy peeks out vent if you're opping? Well, if you're scared of scoping in, I feel like you might want to just like, you might want to even clear that. But the CT also could have gone back around vents. So yeah, maybe walking upstairs isn't a play that Hedrick would have made in that 1v1. Oh, this is like this is the most cursed position to be in 1v1, like, where you're, like, you're playing against a guy control when you're there with the bomb there. It's such a cursed position to be trying to play. It's fucking so cursed. Okay, nade out the smoke. Renade out the smoke. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, it was the CTs that naded out the smoke. Okay. Oh my God. Nade out the smoke, renade out the smoke. Renade out the smoke. He's not pre-fired that angle before. That is definitely an angle I haven't seen him pre. He wouldn't do that if he knew the guy was opping. But he might do that if he knew a guy was there with a rifle, because that's like a free fucking kill. But I've seen many people spam that angle through the smoke before. It's not uncommon, but it's not something Nemanya's done. It's certainly not something Nemanya's done this game. I don't see like a amazing logic for doing it. I'm pretty confident he's not done that this game, has he? Right? Am I high? I don't think he's done that this game. Is he here in NPL? Does he hear him spamming? Did he spam vents? NPL. Did NPL spam vents? How many bullets? No, he did not spam anything. Okay. Maybe he heard him throw the nade? Maybe he heard him throw the nade. My hearing is not great. That guy Nate from The Office? That's me. Could he have heard him right-click that nade? Maybe. Sorry, I was saying if he knew he was opping that, he wouldn't pre-fire that, I think. However, if you have radar hacks, you don't know if they're opping. You just know a guy's there, right? I just feel like this peek on the guy in mini is just so weird. Oh, I guess if you kill Head Trick, you know they have a mini player every time, right? Yeah, okay, never mind. Yeah, so he probably knows there's another. He knows there's another guy outer. Like when you kill Head Trick there. Is that true? Is there an outer player every time? Is there a mini player every time? You go 2 upper, 1 ramp, 1 outer, 1 mini. Could be heaven, but it would make more sense for Head Trick to be heaven. But sometimes you might start him garage. But usually you don't start an upper there. I don't know, man. I think usually there's probably another outer player. It's not crazy. Spam is wild. There's nothing super crazy. Sorry, I'm just like looking at this. It's just like a little odd, just the way like there's something that's not vibing with me on this peak. He's like looking for a second player to be like unbreakable or something. That's almost what the pre-aim looks like. And then he just gets owned in the flank. Okay. Oh, what's his team doing at the same time? Okay. So there's the nades, and then his team is walking through the ramp smoke at the same time. So his team is going ramp, and he's like, oh, is that what it is? Where he's like, okay, they're going ramp. They're like about to walk through the ramp smoke, so I'm gonna make as much noise outer as possible, and I really don't want them knowing we're not crossing, because if they know we're not crossing at the same time, then they're just gonna like overstack on ramp. But he could just be going for an upper hit. There's no reason he couldn't be going for an upper hit. I don't think he needs to do anything crazy outer. I don't think there's anything that needs to have been done differently because he knows they're going for a ramp hit. Yeah, okay. Then's the question. Then's is the question. Do I think that there's reason to believe that he's cheating? I can see why people think he might be cheating. I can definitely see why people think that. But the level of certainty, I think, to call out someone should be really high. There's definitely some plays that are odd. But there's nothing like so like wild. There's nothing he's doing that's like it like doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Everything makes sense. It's just I think the problem is that people are going to be pretty suspect when they see that someone consistently makes those sorts of like good reads. You know, like he's just kind of every time he's kind of in the right spot. You know, every time he's kind of like doing the exact play that works perfectly against the way he's things are going. Okay, so I've got a couple demos here, and I was right that, well, right-ish, in that this utility set does seem to imply only one strat, right? So they've got the same smoke here, the same smoke here, the molly behind. It implies only one strat, which is someone walks up close left side around, and usually will flank into mini. At least when FaZe does it. And FaZe is the only team that I've seen do it. I've seen this strat before. I've just only seen it from this POV, so I'm like, I wasn't really aware of it. But usually they throw it a bit delayed because I think the point is you probably don't want that glaive smoke up, because if the glaive smoke is up, then this position becomes really, really fucking strong. So if you don't throw a glaive smoke, you see that utility incoming, and then you throw the glaive smoke. Someone could jump. Like, what I'd expect is that, like, if you saw that glaive smoke, I feel like someone back here should jump to check just to help out. Because these players are never in a million fucking years going to be able to kill this guy. Or, unless there's a flash, right? But there's no flash, and there's a glaive smoke up. This is, like, the god angle, right? Like, how are you supposed to... No, you can't deal with that. It's fucking impossible. Yeah. So I would expect someone back here to jump, or for there to be a flash. To deal with that angle specifically. But if there isn't, then that angle is just fucking sick. Yeah. There's really no reason not to be playing that angle. So that did look a little odd, but this is all anyone does, right? They just like, they walk along that wall. I mean, Brokey crosses here, right? But there's no glaive smoke. And also, here's the other time that they threw the same smoke. They've thrown it twice otherwise, and both times someone on top of credit card has been able to shut it down. So this time there was a guy, Twinkie or Silo, and he gets the kill there, backs up, and this is without a glaive smoke, so it's even more risky. And this is the other time where NPL is trying to cross here, right? He's actually trying to cross over, which might imply that being worried about this would make a lot of sense. But it looks like just in general CT sides, they see that utility and you know what you're looking at. You know what you're generally looking at. And actually this guy is here also. But I'm thinking if you saw this and you were going to play against this team, you might be somewhat worried about this. But anyone crossing here also has to be worried about heaven. So you'd really expect a flash if someone was to peek out from there most of the time, I would think. But yeah.